Well, the persisting scourge of insecurity in Nigeria took a turn for the worse last week when 16 travelers identified as hunters were killed in Uromi, Edo State. Coupled with that scourge is tension in the polity as a result of the preparations towards the 2027 general election. Well, to have a conversation around all of that, we're now being joined by Senator Gabriel Suswam, a former governor of Benue State and a member of the People's Democratic Party. Good to have you on the program this afternoon. Welcome to Newsday.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so to jump right into it, Benue and Uromi killings, just as we said, are quite tragic. The state safety architecture seems to have failed, and jungle justice seems to be prevailing and is the law of the day. Are Edo citizens paying the price for the incompetence of their elected leaders, particularly the governor, with whom the buck stops, and apparently also was forewarned about the increasing violence within that space? What are your thoughts?
Well, the issue of insecurity in this country is not something that you can situate on one particular person or group of persons. Security of a state, even a village, is dependent on the people, virtually every person. And so it is not so much of the incompetence of the elected personnel or the governor, but that there is general insecurity across the country. And it started a few years back, and I think the handling of the situation is what has led to the degeneration of where we are today. And so the current elected representative inherited a situation where when they were campaigning, promises of making things better was what apparently persuaded the people to elect them. But when you are campaigning, the way you look at things is different from what you will meet on ground. Most time you are completely overwhelmed with what you've met. But in Benue, as the former chief security officer of that state, I would say that the situation has degenerated because of a lot of factors. Some of our boys who, for reasons that are not explainable, have also complicated the matter. And then I believe that the headers who, for no reasons that we can wrap our hands around, have consistently been attacking villages and communities in Benue. While I was there, I got even the Sultan of Sokoto involved in trying to settle it, and we're able to reach some milestones during my tenure. Subsequently, a lot of water has passed under the bridge, but I don't think that it is the incompetence of the governor. As far as I know, the elected representative, not just the governor, comes from this community. So no person, elected or not elected, will just sit down and fold his hand and watch his people being killed. So they are making efforts, but I think that those efforts need to be stepped up. A lot of people, it's not just, this is not a political thing. Every person is affected, whether you are in APC, PDP, or Labour Party. All of us are affected. So it is something that all of us must sit together genuinely and agree that we will address the issue of insecurity genuinely and not playing politics with it. Once that is done, I believe that we get some solutions to it. I believe that the governor, as it were, is doing his best. A lot more people need to be involved. Our elected representative, both at the House of Assembly at the National Assembly in different communities, I believe they are also working round to make sure that we find solution to this problem. The Fulanis, who are majority herders, are people that we've lived with for a long period of time, especially for the Tiv people. We and the Fulanis have this joke together. We call them our slaves, they call us our slaves. We've never had any problem. This recent phenomenon is something that started not quite long, and I think it can be explained when Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was killed, and we begin to have a lot of arms moving down, and a lot of these Fulanis, who are not necessarily Nigerians, began to move in to find food for their herders. They didn't know the values that have existed here before, and so it has become a big problem for us, not just in Benue, even in the far north, where they are closer to their point of entry, have also had their own fair share of these incessant attacks and killings. It has predominated in Benue Plateau and Nasarawa now, because this is where the terrain and the grass there, as I'm told and as I know, are nutritious for the cows. So their concentration is now around that region. Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, Taraba are the ones that are hard hit because of this. But I think that with the effort being made by government, we will find a solution around it.
Now, I'd like us to focus a bit on the killings in Uromi, Edo State. With so much suspicion between different tribes at the moment, what measures can be put in place to prevent a recurrence of such? What can be done to ensure justice is served and also prevent reprisal attacks, as has been threatened in some quarters?
Yeah, I think the federal government need to step out. You know, there's more lip service being paid to the insecurity in the country. I believe that the security of this country is purely in the hands of the federal government, because the federal government control these instruments of coercion, which is that of the military, the police, the immigrations, and even the prisons. And so the federal government need to step up what they're doing. The insecurity have continued because not enough is being done. No much attention is being paid to. We are engaging more in fire brigade approach. When there is an attack here, there will be noise in the next 2 weeks. Some ad hoc arrangement will be put in place, and immediately that subsides, it will be relaxed. If you have an incessant attacks or incessant security problems, I believe that what the federal government need to do is to put in place a system or an architecture that will be sustainable, an architecture that will not just be on a hot basis, and will stop engaging in this fire brigade approach, that when it happens is when we respond. And so once that is done, we'll be able to address it. And then there must be some serious sanctions. In spite of this incessant attack across the country, whether it is in Kaduna, it's in Uromi, it's in Benue, it's in Sokoto or anywhere, persons have not been sanctioned. No persons have been isolated and say, look, we are sanctioning this person, because sanctions act as deterrents to potential individuals who have the potential of engaging in similar acts. But once they see that nothing serious is being done, they get more emboldened. That is what is happening. So let people be isolated. Let people be identified that these are the people who are sponsoring these people. These are the people who are causing this mayhem in the country. Once that is done, any person who has a disposition to engage in such treacherous act we of course know that he can be arrested and prosecuted. Until that is done, people are getting more important. We are becoming like a lawless society where nothing matters, everything goes. That is the responsibility of government. When you are elected, you take an oath that you are going to protect lives and property of the people. Once that singular oath, once you fail, it means that government has failed. There's nothing more important than lives and property of the people that elect a government. So I think government should take the responsibility of addressing the insecurity in the country more seriously. No matter whose goal no matter who is involved, let us address it. You hear that some people who identify will not publish their names. Why not? Once you do that, it means that you are hiding people who are creating problem, insecurity. And once there is insecurity in the country, it affects the economy. It affects the GDP of the country, because especially in agriculture, whether it is in agriculture or in mining, all sectors of the economy are affected. Because if you are mining, you will not be able to go there because of insecurity. So what the mining sector contributes to the GDP of a country will be down. Agriculture is most affected because for Benue, for instance, is 100% agricultural state. The people are not farming because of these attacks. And so once they are not farming, there will be food shortage, there will be hunger. So if we must feed our people, then the insecurity in the country must be seriously addressed. Until we do that, we're going to have more problem. It can lead to a more serious, because it's assuming a more serious dimension than it did in the past. So if we don't nip it in the bud now, what will happen will be unthinkable as we move forward.
Well, Senator Suswam, very well said. But let's move from one crisis bedeviling the country to another. Well, in particular, the PDP, as you are a member. Could you clear up some issues for us and confirm exactly who the current national secretary of the PDP is?
Well, I'm a lawyer, and I would say that the case had gone through different courts, from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. The judgment, the ruling of the Supreme Court is very clear. I would say it's very clear to the extent that the Supreme Court clearly stated that the issues of party positions are issues, internal issues of different political parties. That then means that it is a party that would decide who is the chairman, who is the secretary, or who occupies whatever position within the party. That is the ruling of the Supreme Court. And so, based on that ruling, I think PDP as a party, when they meet, which is next month, they will take a decision as to who is the secretary of the party. As it is now, both Anyanwu and the other gentleman are claiming positions. The party will sit down eventually when the party meets next month and take a firm decision as to who is actually the secretary of the party, because the Supreme Court says so, that it is the responsibility and the prerogative of the party to decide what happened internally. And so when we meet, we will take that position, and I believe that that will be next month. The PDP governors, we're expecting a direction from them. Unfortunately, that is not coming the way most of us are expecting. But I believe that eventually we'll be able to meet and take a final position on the matter. There is that confusion. We would have expected that the Supreme Court, as the highest court in the land, would have been more explicit in saying that, yes, this is it, but based on this and this and this is the person who is the secretary. They didn't say that, and so they pushed the responsibility of doing that back to the party. And I believe that we, as party members, have the capacity to take a decision, and we will take that decision the coming month when we eventually meet.
Well, former Benue State Governor, Senator Gabriel Suswam, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.